Welcome to Says the Brown Girl. My name is Dymon, and I'm a brown girl with a voice who doesn't mind being heard. So listen up, I've got a word, and it might be just for you. Today's poem is entitled, "The Beginning is Also the End." This is one of my favorite poems because I wrote this poem when I was 12 years old in the 6th grade in English class. My teacher had assigned us to either find a poem or create one ourselves, and we had to dissect it. So I read this poem in class, and my teacher asked me where I got it from, and I told her I wrote it myself, and she was so blown away. At first she didn't believe me. She fact-checked me, y'all, on Google, copied and pasted my poem into Google, and could not find a word. Why? Because I wrote it, of course. She ended up getting my poem published in the Daily Reflector, which was so ecstatic for me at that time. But this is one of the first moments where I realized that I loved writing, I love poetry, and here I am 8 years later still writing poems and sharing them with the world. So enjoy. The beginning of the world was the end of void, when all the pain and despair was then destroyed. The end of void was the beginning of life. Then came along struggles, joy, and strife. Where darkness ends, delight begins. Equalization will grow until the end. Under a wall of trouble, evil hides, but even the slightest ever, we know is disguise. In a world of sin, we pout and we pride, but when it's all done and finished, there will be a new kind. Someday, when all the hatred and anger is torn away, and the beginning of happiness will never fade, we know that we have reached our destination, where hope and joy will flow across our nation. Thank you. It's pretty human nature for us to dwell on our past or contemplate on our future so much that we forget about our present. I want to focus on our now. Recently, I have just been so concentrated on what I want to do in my future, what career path I want to go down, what am I going to do after school, stressing myself out, losing sleep over what I have essentially no control over. And I've neglected what's right here in front of me, and I am acknowledging that that is not okay. What about right now? 1 year ago, or even 5 years ago, I was praying for this exact spot that I'm in right now. And now that I'm here, I still want more for myself, and that's okay. But what I have failed to do is realize how far that I've come. People always say, "Oh, I wish I was back in more simpler days, back in the good old days where everything was so easy." Well, here you are. Because as you grow as a person, you only get more responsibility and more accountability, and more is expected out of you. Why not appreciate the simple and easy times you are in right now? You have came so far. Reflect on yourself. Where were you 10 years ago? What were you doing? What was life like? What had you accomplished? Versus right now. People who knew you 5 years ago, 3 months ago, they don't know you right now if they hadn't talked to you between those times. Because you've grown. You have progressed. Right now. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself. For me personally, I worry a lot about my future because sometimes it's just so unimaginable for me to think out because I want so much for myself. And I try to just plan out every little detail. But I know a lot of you that is listening to my voice right now know someone who has an understanding that is greater than mine and yours. And He knows my beginning and my end. He has an expected end for me. And no matter what I think it is, no matter all the possibilities going in my head, it's already planned and it's already done. The beginning is also the end has a simple message. When one thing ends, something begins. In other words, nothing lasts forever. In fact, when one door closes, another one opens. The present is exactly what it is. It's a gift. It is a gift to be living right now in this day and time. To live, to learn, to experience. Accept what you have. Accept what you've been through. Accept yourself. Accept forgiveness. Accept that things may not always go as you planned them. But don't get deterred that they don't, because there is a reason and a season for everything under the sun. I'd like to leave you with the scripture Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And all you need is faith the size of a little tiny mustard seed. And if you have that, you have anything that your heart desires. Enjoy your now. Don't get so caught up in reflecting on the past or contemplating on your future that you forget to enjoy your now. Brown Girl, signing out.